with whatever Grace Oluwande does in terms of advocacy and any other work that I've been doing, it will appear. So today I was doing that search. I think I did for like 100 MPs. That's a lot of work, and I agree. So in those MPs that I did, among those 100 ones, I could only see Peter Salasia's job. I could see Millie Odhiambo's job in terms of advocacy, in terms of human rights, in terms of leadership in general. Didi Njoro, I could see his work very well. Other MPs, most of them, apart from being in the parliament website, there is nothing to show. In terms of LinkedIn profile, there is nothing to show about them. These are people who even never speak in parliament. So on that note, I call upon every Kenyan, please Google your MP in whatever constituency you are in, and look at your MP if your MP is working or not. And if your MP is working, please, X is not working per se, please exercise Article 145 of the Constitution of Kenya, which is to recall those MPs. They have no business sitting in those offices if they cannot work. Lastly, my point on the Constitution. I think analyzing this Constitution very well, I think there are some amendments and important amendments. And these amendments, I agree that even the MPs will not agree to do them. So that is where the role of citizens comes in. It is your duty to collect signatures and to also draft a petition to air out your views. Like, honestly speaking, I don't see the need of we having all of those senators, all of those women reps, all of those, how do we call them, governors, 47 per se, plus deputies. And we have seen situations where even governors are impeached, and deputies that are remaining there forges ahead with their work until without a deputy. They work without deputies. One, I saw Nairobi when Mike Sonko was impeached, there was no governor. There was the deputy governor who worked for a very long time until a certain woman was, I don't know, I can't remember her name clearly, but a certain woman was also sworn in Mike Sonko's position. So we don't need the deputy governors. We don't need them. Why are we even paying them? Why are we? And we have to also write these petitions to in a way that before you become our leader, you have to show us your academic qualifications. We have MCAs who cannot even express themselves in English for 2 minutes. I am telling you, I have visited those assemblies, and it is pathetic. An MCA cannot speak for 2 minutes in English. An MCA wants to refer books that he read in high school when defending his agenda, like the books like An Enemy of the People. These are people who are not reading. Honestly, I expect a leader to be very informed. I expect a leader, when it comes to books, he should tell me a lot of books he has read. If your reference is your high school book that you read in those symposiums, then you are a big joke. You are not even fit enough to hold any public office. Let us look at these things and let us draft those petitions to ensure that our leaders are qualified leaders in terms of leadership and in terms of their accountability capacities. It is very wrong to elect people like Odhiambo from this MCA from Gorokocho, uninformed, Apart from, he cannot even know that he's supposed to be unfatting. Anytime he's in any public platform, if you hear him speak, you can puke. So these are the things that we should be saying no to, and we should be drafting a petition categorically to address such kind of issues. Lastly, now when it comes also to this thing we call leadership, and if we look at I'm sorry, if we look at what the constitution says in terms of multipartism, I think today I registered my party today. I know many young youths are coming here telling us, oh, we should be having a new party, we should be having multiple parties. Whom do you want to give that mandate to create those parties if you yourself, you are not taking that initiative to create those parties? Honestly, you are not creating those parties among yourselves. You want somebody else to do it for you. It means you are unserious. If you know the parties is what we need, we need multiple parties, and we need to organize so that those youths, and I like what somebody brought up here, that campaigning will not be a problem because we have social media platforms. If at all I know Pipita is going for a certain seat in Rongai, it is my responsibility as a young person to push Pipita's agenda to become a member of parliament. And the only way I can do it is through my social media platforms, through talking to people wherever I am, and we will have votes. So if you are there thinking that somebody else is the person that should be creating a party for you, I think you are in a wrong course. It is you to take that initiative. It is you to take that responsibility. Let us stop waiting for other people. Tunaka ships. Mvua ishawahi nyesha na uko na ships, unazichapa na haziendi, zimesimama tu pahali, inaongoja nani ataenda kwanza. That is how we are behaving, and when we are behaving in such a manner, we will go nowhere. And I really agree, I tend to agree, Ruto should go. But Ruto cannot go and leave the same parliament. We would have done nothing. So if Ruto goes, every politician who is dubious should be going home with Ruto. You cannot remove Ruto and leave the same people in power. So on that note, we are calling on MPs. It is time for us to look at our MPs and also be ready to sign those signatures. So at least we can send 10 home. If we send 10 home, people will style up. Thank you.
Five, four, three, two, 1, 0.
Welcome to Home Run with Pippi.
You're listening to Home Run with Pipi, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in here. And of course, Kama Kawaida, Home Run with Pipi comes to you each and every weekday from 4 p.m. all the way to 9 p.m. East African. And you just clocked the final hour of the show, that is 8 p.m., where we get to find our final words and also get to finalize our submission as well. So thank you so much for being here with us. We have been live since 4 p.m. Namwona pale hivi Paul Malea ako hapa na pia namwona mahali anajaponji. So I'm going to go with Paul and then we will hear from Amalia and Japonji. Paul.
Yeah, hello, Pipi. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I hope you are as well.
Yeah. Hi to everyone as well. Yeah. I think my kind of key thing I wanted to say, mostly will echo what I think that gentleman called Key, something Key. I don't know, the gentleman who was speaking. So I think what he was saying is very important. I think, like, also what the lady said as well. We have to believe in ourselves. Like, I think there's a lot of noise, which at the moment, and even I think we're living also in a season whereby if you see like most of these guys, they already come out, they're already, like at the moment they start like doing roads, trying to build Nairobi, things like that. Like right now these guys are on campaign mode, so they've got their plans. And I believe, like, even if whatever plans they have, and then if you listen to some political influencers, how they kind of, in a sense, twist your minds, or kind of, like, dialogue in a way, there's certain kind of a tribal, or I don't know, all these kingpins and everything. I think you'll just know. I think you can pick, like, like, as they say, the chaff from the wheat or something like that. So the key thing is, even, I think, even, okay, having parties is good and everything, and you can form parties and everything, but I don't think we should be so worried about parties, per se. This is my opinion. Because, like, people can go independent. You can be united as long as, like, as long as you've made, like, you've been in your area, you've done your due diligence, you've been speaking to people, you're getting your word out there, especially on the ground. Obviously we'll use the same thing. We'll still have to use social media and everything. And also, like, what I would like to say as a solution is, basically, I think people should look at this. And also, I've been actually thinking about it as well. Like, whenever we have meetings, like, you can just have probably just 5 minutes of, just, let's say, like, we can begin even in Nairobi County. We got how many, like, constituents and things like that. How many MPs, which area are you people coming from? Are you willing to put your name up? So, that kind of sense thing. Like, just they get the ball rolling. And then also, I think, because I'm in different platforms, I go to different platforms, so you can make whereby, I think, some information from different platforms, kind of, it's, people can go somewhere and get that information, whereby people will know exactly what's happening out there. So the initial thing, I think, right now, because you can tell, even, like, I've been watching Maraga has been going to different places and stuff like that. So there's a positive step. I think everything works for a season, and as the guy was saying, this is a spiritual battle. And I think, at the end of the day, who wins. So no matter whatever is going on, I think we've already overcome. So it's just a matter of going towards the steps and stuff like that. So it's very key that everyone believes themselves, everyone brings themselves up. I think, as also the lady is saying, don't wait for anyone to do anything. Yeah, believe in yourself. Sometimes people start second guessing themselves. Can I speak? Can I talk? Any, so, you just have to believe in yourself and just be confident. Yeah, if there's someone else who's gonna come out and be better, and maybe has got a better agenda than you, I think you'll feel within your guts, and people will resonate with the one who's actually, is being felt, and you can actually see the works. And like, and I think if you make things transparent, if, as long as you're transparent, I think things will work. So my kind of thing is, like, yeah, we should really focus, and then work our way plan. But I think I can see things from a different level. I can just see things planning out and working out, just very organically. So yeah, let's keep it up. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Paul Malaya, for that. Malia. Tumetoka from Malaya to Malia. Malia.
Asante. I just want to follow up on what Olwande said. And I think also what Red Hand was saying about the issue of parties, political parties. Now, the problem of these political parties, they are like money minting operation. So if now I want to make money and I see that I've gotten a bit of popularity, the next thing for me is to start a political party. So as soon as I start the political party, watu wakikosa ticket on the other main parties, they come to my party and buy a ticket. And this is also another issue, because a lot of people who can be good leaders sometimes don't have the money to pay for those, because it's in the hundreds of thousands. Sometimes it may be even maybe quite a high amount. So and then others like ODM, where I used to be, they give direct nomination. They just treat you that you're going for primaries, but there's nothing like that. The ticket has already been given, so it doesn't even matter whether you as members who you're going to choose. So long as Baba has decided this is the person, inaenda hivyo. We want to move away from that. We want free, fair, and credible primaries. So this is why I'm supporting Olwande's idea that the Gen Zs need to have their own parties, because these parties which are here can and therefore if you as a Gen Z, you run with those tickets. And what I don't know who said about the issue of you can be the president and the leader of government. You see, this issue of independent candidates, you have seen how they've messed up the former governor of Meru, who was a very popular candidate. She won with independent party. I mean, with independent as an independent candidate, but she didn't have anyone to support her in the assembly, because the assembly was full of UDA people and Mbas people. So there she was. When she needs the support, she can't get it because she's an independent. She could be very popular, but party backing is very important. And that's why when you are starting this, when we are fronting somebody, even if it's that Maraga or somebody else, then we need to also have enough members of parliament for him to be able to get around, because he'll probably need to do a lot of amendments, a lot of bills, a lot of this and the other. And now just imagine that the people who are there are UDA people or are ODM people, and they're against him. What happens then? Even that impeaching, they can impeach him very fast. So we need to think about that. And therefore, it's very important that we have our own parties which are friendly to us and friendly to our situation, so that if you cannot afford 500,000 for a ticket, then there's a party for you which can be able to take you even with 20,000, or even free for that matter. So that is very, very important. That mambo na independent candidate, I think tumeona kikiramba watu wenye wako kwa independent. If you are an independent candidate and there are some people who you are dependent on to move bills, to do things in the county assembly, to even stay on the seat, you are going to have a very rough time when you don't have anybody. Imagine, not even a single MCA. It's a very terrible situation to find yourself in. I want to talk about the issue of women leadership. Women leadership used to be something which was reserved for accomplished women. If you look at the past, we used to have women like Phoebe Asiom, we used to have Professor Nzomo, but gradually, women leadership in this country has now been reduced to sugar babies of politicians. It's like a beauty contest now. The most beautiful person now is the one who is going to become the women's representative, and that's why we are getting it wrong, because we have very accomplished women in this country. We have women who can take us to another level, a very seriously other level, if they can be able to get those seats. Like you can see Christola Sige, she has just come in, this is her first term, and she has already drafted that PWD bill and gotten it signed and passed into law. Whereas we were having some other men there like Songok and Mwaura who are just simply joyriding. So we need to move away from this, and this is a problem that we are having as a population, because tunaendaga kupiga kura kwa women's rep based on looks, based on kama akona hips, sijui kama akona behind, and then a lot of these women, even how they ascend into those offices. Let's not even talk of the nominated ones like Akina Karen Nyamu, who you cannot really understand what do they do in the in the Senate. Totally nothing. Just catwalking is what she does, and just defending UDA in a very manner, very foolish manner, with no intelligence. So we cannot afford to have a situation whereby you are going to be the people in power are going to be nominating their sugar babies to be either nominated, or they use their platform. Like now I'm seeing this one of Oparanya, his current sugar baby. She is now, it's like she wants to run for women's rep. So from that visibility she has gotten for being his sugar whatever, and a kind of a socialite. So she now wants to use that to be able to come in as a women's rep. And you'll find Kenyans voting for her very well, without even knowing whatever she's coming with to the office with. What is she going to offer? Eh? But Kenyans, we are kind of, I don't know what's happening to us. It's like, are we becoming, our intelligence is getting lower, or what is happening? Because we used to, I remember the leadership which we had at Kinangil. We had serious leadership, not based on drama, on being a socialite, and there's also another problem in this country. This country, as long as you have visibility, you can go into politics. Even if you are a socialite like Vera Sindika, you can run for office based on that socialiteness and that visibility that you've gotten for being a socialite, and you find yourself kabisa umeingia. But what we need, if you're nominating someone like this lady, I think MP for Samburu, she was nominated, and she's a substantive leader. She's offering something. You can see what she was an anchor, and she was, she's a very intelligent person, and therefore after nomination, she could now go because also those nominations, they are not there as a permanent seat. Ati sasa utakuwa tu nominatiwa. You're supposed to be nominated, then using that seat or that opportunity, you then go into elective politics and leave somebody else to be nominated who needs that kind of affirmative action. Not ati sasa uko hapo permanent and pensionable kwa nomination like Karenyamu. Unanominatiwa this election period, then another one, then because you are the sugar baby of somebody, and also we need to come out very well and decide the caliber of the leaders that we want. We've been seeing this issue of degrees being scrapped for requirement, as a requirement for leadership being scrapped. But I'm asking, what is, you cannot have a job which does not have a job description and some certain minimum requirement. So if you are somebody who is supposed to be debating on the floor of the county assembly or parliament or wherever, you should be someone who should be able to express yourself. Sasa if you are somebody who you cannot even read swearing in ya Kiswahili, are you really, but Kenyans, how they vote, it's those ones of this person, he's appealing to me, he's popular. And that's why Olwande is talking about the MCA for Korogocho. So the people in Korogocho, they vote for the person who they can relate with. Lakini now the person who they are voting for, kwa sababu hawezi vote kwa ule mwenye, they could be in Korogocho, there's some very learned people, but they're like, achana na huyo wa kizungu mingi, this is our boy, this is the one who understands us and all this. We have to strike a balance. Fine, maybe people in Korogocho are not very highly educated, but can we have a balance so that you don't have an MCA who he can't really, okay, fine, he'll be in touch with you as his constituents. Yani mume come up nyinyi wote coach and you've been there together in all this, but akifika kwa floor, he cannot really be able to do much for you. Ama akikuwa MP, he cannot be able to do much in the sense of representing you, representing your needs, being an active member, bringing bills to the floor which can assist you, So that is another quagmire and a conundrum that we have, because our voting, sometimes it's good to take personal responsibility. We're also having a problem with the caliber of people that we choose, particularly women's rep. Me, I've seen this, that ukiona wale wanawake wenye wanachaguliwa women's rep, it's like it's a beauty contest now. Yeah, you just pick somebody because, well, she's more beautiful, or you have been seeing her hanging around with a politician, or like Oparanya, you have been seeing her having a good time with him, on her Instagram. So we are like, okay, let's vote for this one. But is that now the criteria for voting for someone because she's a girlfriend of somebody, ama she's a sugar baby of somebody who is a prominent politician? We need to move away from that. They are very accomplished people, and therefore we should choose those people. Let's try and balance, relatability and representation. It's very, very important. Thank you.
This is Home Run with PP.
Erickson, what do you have to say to us?
Uh-huh. Okay. Thank you so much, Pipita. Thank you so much to the other speakers who have come and they are sharing all their opinions on this matter. So what I think, to me, much has been said by Malia and the other speakers, but what I can see, number one is, if we have a concave, not a concave, but a conclave rather. So if we have one, so what, to whom is it benefiting? You see, that's my take. So to whom is it benefiting? Is it benefiting the youth of Kenya? Is it benefiting the politicians, or is it benefiting the president of Kenya, William Ruto? So for me, I've just joined right now, so I've been trying to follow on the matter that has been on the table right now, but I'll pitch in more as we continue with the space. Thank you, Pipita.
All right. Twende kwa Michael. Michael, what do you have to say to us?
Thank you again, Pepita. Mine will be so brief. I will speak on the issue of IBC. And I've heard my fellows talking about party, having a party, a weak party. But have you been in a place where you can ask yourself if you can have this party, a solid party that you run to change and to make this Kenya great again? Because we normally talk a lot of stuff, a lot of things around, but we have no a conclusive thing to be based on. For me, what I believe is like when you come out as having that unity, having this zeal of leadership, that we could find someone that we can trust and someone that we can feel safe in his or her hands, whom will bring change in this nation. And about the IBC, I'm not sure if IBC is really honest for the coming election 2027, because tumesikia watu wakisema kwamba even if they have less votes they still grab other votes. So how are you sure kwamba this IBC is for the people, for the citizens, not for the government, for the state? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I don't know if it's me ama tunakupoteza mic, uko kwa kelele kidogo.
Maybe then talk later before you close the session.
Alright, so let me go into the comment section while we are at it. Good. We're gonna go into the comment section to see what's going on. What? Kakitu kana hang. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, I have to tell you that Home Run MVP is supported by you, the listener, and that is why we have the tip line over there, 0721948229. That is how we keep these studios running. And if you like what I'm doing, you can always go into that tip line to support the show. And also, of course, this Saturday, we are having Home Run with PP at 2. Celebration, of course, it will be happening here in Ongata Rongai in a place called Rustic Heaven. And we will be having some nice afternoon chill out. Kwa wale watu ambao mnataka kukaa na sisi mpaka jioni hadi usiku wa manane, tuko hapo hivi. Rustic Heaven will be celebrating 2 years of Home Run in PP, and also we'll be discussing the future of digital online media and what we can use, what we can do about it. And also I'll be launching 2 amazing things. I don't wanna break the news, but make sure you have a ticket. The ticket is going for 1,000 shillings, redeemable by a 500 bob voucher inside Rustic Heaven. So make sure you make a date with us, and we are currently at 6 tickets. Ningependa sana tungeuza tiketi 4 tumalize hii wiki hii siku na 10 tickets, ingenifurahisha sana. So anyway, if you are not in the country, you can as well adapt a ticket, buy a ticket, and then we will give it to the listeners in the country who probably might not be able to afford the ticket or might not be able to get the money for the ticket. So yes, hi. Having said that, let's go into the comment section first and see what people are saying on that side. Japonja amesema tiketi yake moja tumpatie Betinjeri. Kumbe sasa hiyo ndo siri. Okay. So Betinjeri, wewe jua tiketi yako moja hapa hivi nimeandikiwa, it's yours from Japonji. Nice. GK Genius Ghost akasema one ticket from me, amepata yake pia na yeye ameweka tiketi yake. Guy Aram anasema tell them to negotiate with which charter with the chapter 6 of our constitution. I think he was responding to one of the comments in the space. The commentator Waweru anasema kwamba it feels like we're being taken backwards. Churches are now calling for dialogue. Gachagua is trying to hijack Gen Z plans by urging us not to protest. Lagat is reportedly turning to office after the judge declined to block him. I'm honestly feeling disgusted. Huyu ni the commentator Waweru. Ai, nakueleza. Kenya ni kukurukakara anasema kwamba we gotta present what we want as Kenyans. No more manifestos and fake promises. It's our duty to now to present what we want to our preferred candidate. That is Kenya ni kukurukakara. Kenya's 3% the answer is simple. Pinpoint a single one, not even two rogue police officers having time to for police brutality. As a result of dialogues, if you get one, we need the conclave. Numerous dialogues have been there, zero justice served, zero. Ebu cheki ametuachilia hapo hivi cabinet secretary for youth pale Botswana alizaliwa 1998. Proper Gen Z beauty. Do you believe they are qualified Gen Zs for these jobs? Yeah, of course. Why not? Haya. Sniffer, chano ni watu wa kufollow ni follow nonsense. Martin Richard said people need to discuss the possibility of recalling MPs now that the IBC has been established. Martin anasema bado no to Raila Odinga no Sumkate talks, we need retirement age to be 55 years. Wanasiasa wa Kenya watakubali 55 years kweli? Kigosi anasema conclave kitu gani? Wafanye tu kama wanataka, hiyo si ya Kenya. Of course, it is the history of our leaders to do things on their behalf. Utaona next week wame launch conclave report. KJ anauliza, huyu anaitwa Kambuni Jeremiah anasema a conclave for what, with who? Lives have been lost under their watch. When Raila had a chance, he went ahead and negotiated some deal called broad-based government, and now he's here telling us dialogue. Let him go to hell with his fake dealings. Grace Olwande, even in your book, you have a whole chapter for Raila Odinga. Do you think this conclave thing, honestly, would you think is going to solve what we are going through as a country? I see George on the mic first. Let's get George and then Grace. George. George, are you there?
I'm there, Pepita. How are you?
I am well. Talk to me.
I'm well. I think actually I just had a question to Olwande. I was trying to join in and I was having network issues. Olwande, there was something you were speaking about, that you attend certain forums and you listen to how our leaders converse and even how they defend some of the things in those settings, and you are just frustrated. And I think I've been contemplating on something, and I've just been wondering, we have a very big population, some of it literate, there's a portion that is illiterate, there's a portion that maybe suffer from ignorance. And I've just been wondering, now when you're doing civic education, when now we want everyone on board in matters politics and governance, how do we go about it, considering that even the reasoning capacity for people in this country is very different? You come to these places, you hear people talking. I mean, there's sobriety. Yeah, you go to the villages, ama you go to different places, ama sometimes you even sit in the matatu, you hear people talking. You're just like, wow, is this the trajectory we should be going? And sometimes it's disappointing to be in some spaces. Sometimes you feel hope when you're in other spaces. So I was asking, like, now how can we, like, have everyone in one box so that we can be in like one journey? The reason I'm asking this, like, now when we address this issue, everyone has their own way. Everyone has their own solution. Some people could term it as spiritual. And now from a spiritual perspective, how do we shape the conversation to be like positive? Because now when you talk about spirituality, we have spiritual leaders who allow, we feel like maybe the exploiting their positions to oppress people. They're not speaking against the government anymore. They, they speak to support the government, and and as a country, we have a lot of people who maybe go to the churches, some of these places of worship. Now, how do we, like, how do you address this? Like, considering each and every person has their own solution, people have different reasoning capacities. We have a population that's literate, we have a population that is illiterate, and these same leaders, when you tunaona maybe to us we feel like maybe they're not matching up to the potential we want. To some people, like, they seem as bright. When they go to the village and give those quotes from high school, people will find them to be like very, very intelligent people. So, like, how do we address that gap, yani? Unaona? I think it's something I just wanted to ask Olwande Pipita. Thank you.
Olwande, the legend herself, 8.
Pipita, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to answer your question first, Pipita. I think my book I was very clear, and in my book I was specifically
Pipita
stating.
simsikia Olwande. Can you hear her?
Yes, I can hear her. So I think we went on a recycle. I don't know if the other speakers can hear Olwande. Paul, Malia, Red Hand.
Okay,
Yeah, they
yes.
can. Yeah, sure.
So,
So
so
George, recycle.
in my book specifically, my book is just my biography, what I was seeing, the book that I released this year, probably months ago, 2-3 months ago. So specifically I was talking about 2007 politics, and in the book I narrated why I was a child, but I was supporting a candidate. But in the book, you could see that I was supporting a candidate based on what I was hearing my aunties, my uncles saying about that particular leader. So I think in the book, I was just trying to highlight the aspect of tribalism and the effects of tribalism, how people were choosing leaders in terms of tribe rather than whatever the cause. And also, okay, in the book, I also narrated that Raila Odinga was somebody who was known to defend human rights, according to whatever I saw between Banana and Chungwa and how Chungwa won. Basically, it was just how the events took place, and how also in 2002, though I did not know politics, but I remember like the songs like Who Can Buogo Me by Gidi Gidi Maji Maji. I think I didn't narrate 2002 because I was too young to see whatever was happening. But again, in terms of your question, I think people should just choose leaders based on what they can do for Kenyans. I think in the same book also I highlighted politics in 2013, where again there was theme of change because my perspective about politics had changed, and at that time I knew that people should be voting in in accordance to whatever somebody has done. And if I even highlighted how Luo leaders specifically would idolize Raila Odinga to get into power, which to me I don't see if it's necessary. So it's just upon us to change our way of thinking. And by the way, if you can't get that book, please get it. I uploaded it on Amazon. I don't know, I've never checked if it's there still or not, but the book is called Lethal Survivor. You can go and check it out and maybe see my views on how I think in terms of political issues. But again, all of us, we have to change our perspective in terms of tribalism, which is the main disease in this country. And political class has really known how to manipulate people in terms of tribalism. And if you see these things, even in terms of education, I tend always to believe it was a manipulation, because to be sincere, you can live without education. You can live and you can earn without even going to school. But you see, in this generation, we have idolized it to an extent. We believe that somebody cannot do without it, which is not true. And that is the same way we believe that tribalism is so important in Kenya that we cannot do without. So if we can change our mentality and perspective about the issue, I think as a country we can really go far, and we can be able to choose leaders based on merit, but not on tribe, like we usually do. So coming back to George's question, but I see he's not here. I don't know if it's among the listening panel. The Constitution is very clear that leaders at least should be educated. But again, in terms of MCAs, it's never specified. And that's why I'm saying we can be able to write a petition. We can write a petition. I remember, like, it's a month ago, there's a petition we drafted just to implement, come up with some new policies. So if we can agree, even as a group, we can form a committee and we can draft a petition on what we want added in the Constitution. And specifically, it should be academic qualifications. I understand what Malia Davis said, that you see, even people from Gorokocha, some of them, they have not reached certain academic level, and I believe that is not true. Right now in Kenya, there are so many people who are educated, who are empowered, who are supposed to be having these positions. And the reason is simple. You see, have you ever worked with people who have not gone to school? Personally, I've ever gotten myself into that situation where you are the highest person, maybe with a certain quality or qualification in terms of education. And you'll find that working with those people normally is very difficult. For example, a governor is supposed to be holding a degree, and he's expected to work with people who are from two dropouts. Sincerely, honestly speaking, it will be very difficult to work with such kind of people. Some of them cannot even write a letter. Mi hata niko na hapa ma MCAs wenye ni marafiki zangu. Even a simple message, some of them cannot write. They only know hard English. They can't write even simple messages. So you wonder how such kind of people, I know you will say it is luck, but I tend to wonder if that is really the correct thing to do. So if we can draft these petitions, we bring them on board, we present them to Parliament now as the people that this is what we want, then they can be added, or we can be able to write them as memorandums and submit them to Parliament so that they can be put into consideration. Because to me, I think in terms of leadership, education, and qualifications in their areas of expertise is very important. Because if we can have people like Esther Passaris, who can categorically say that what is costing this country at this moment is overpopulation. And we know very well that is not true. That is somebody who lacks capacity and ability on issues to do with governance. If somebody can claim that population of 50 million with the kind of resources we have is the main issue why resources are not distributed equally to each and every individual. We know very well that's a lie. And if that comes from a leader, it just tells you the gap, the kind of gap leaders have. And in terms of even communication, in terms of research, I don't think people like Esther Passaris even read books. Because if she reads books, she can be able to know that in Nigeria, there is a population of 200 million and those people are surviving in that country. So I don't think Kenyans have reached to that situation where we are saying that population is a problem. In fact, if you read the history, population is an advantage to a country, not a problem. In countries like China, they have thrived because of their population, and they are everywhere because they can be able to contribute and bring back their country into a position. So those are the things. That is just my thought, and that is how I view things. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Grace, for that. I see George is here. I don't know if George has been answered, but if George has been answered, I want to go to Steve Amenya.
Thank you, Pipita, and thank you for everyone who's taken time to contribute. Pipita, regarding your initiative or your 2-year anniversary, I'm gonna send something towards that. There are probably 2 tickets or so, just to support. I won't be able to make it myself, but that's just to contribute to the show. And thanks for the good work you're doing, giving us space, a civic space where we can do, we can educate each other, help each other, shape ideas that can help take our country forward. Now, the question being, do we need a conclave? I join the rest who have said that we do not need a conclave with the current leadership, because as we know, they have played a big role in putting us where we are at the moment. And someone who has brought you to where you are is should not be the same person to take you out of the place. I was on an express yesterday where Casmel joined, and he basically told us, for those of you on that express last evening, that he has already confirmed that he's going to represent Gen Z at the conclave in August. So for those of you who think that this is just a proposal by Raila, I think that this is not a proposal by Raila. This is actually came from the president's circle, where maybe it was discussed, and then Raila was chosen to be the person to go and propose it to the public. So I think it's a way they're trying to manage the anger among Kenyans, especially among the youth, by starting a dialogue, sort of a radical kind of dialogue that can drag on beginning this year, maybe into next year. And by so doing, they are thinking that could take the steam out of the protests and buy them time for them to prepare for 2027, which, of course, as you know, is a place where they think they have a big advantage, and they're likely to win. So that kind of dialogue is not something that we can put ourselves into. And I propose that we should be thinking of a parallel people's dialogue, where we can decide whether it's physical. If it's physical, if here it's going to be disrupted, we can have it on digital, but have it as broadly as we can, bring people on board from the religious sector, from the academic sector, from private sector, civil society, representatives of the youth, even our reps from space. People have been hosting spaces like yourself, Pipit, and others, who have been hosting spaces, Afrocentric and others who have been doing this. They should be there as presenting the views, because you've listened to multiple people air their views. So we should do that. We should try to do that ahead of the one proposed, the conclave proposed by the government and Raila and his team. That way, one, we will have gotten the people's views to truly come out before they are taken through some laundry in that conclave that is coming, so that we sort of jump the gun before we are pushed. And if we put it out there that there's a people's process going on, and we have our own proposals that are maybe reusable of what the people expect, as well as has been said during tonight, expect from their leaders, expect from our country, expect the vision that the young people are trying to fight for towards a new Kenya. We really articulate it properly, and it comes out in these people's dialogue. Then whatever the government does with its own process, whatever it does after that, there'll be questions of its legitimacy because it will be seen that the people have already spoken and spoken clearly. So I think that is something we could consider. I've not yet thought it through in terms of what format it could take, but if something that people are willing to consider, I would be happy to contribute my 2 cents. The other thing that maybe has been pointed out by Red Hand, a very good contribution. I listened to what he said about the need for us to organize, and I've just sent out a tweet asking whether the fact that we have so far survived on the trinomial of being tribeless, leaderless, and partyless, whether that is might be actually be risking us going into the space of being dogmatic. Dogma is when you refuse any proposal to change, even if a better idea comes your way, you still choose to stick to what you know best. And I think in this case, we might actually be risking being dogmatic rather than being practical and pragmatic and reading the room and seeing where we're heading, especially as we head towards 2027. Why? Because these three values that we've upheld have helped us in the struggle, in resistance, in trying to introduce change into the current government. But as we've seen, this government is not capable of changing. It's not capable of change, not as currently constituted, not as led by Ruto. They have resisted change both through the streets, both through our online channels of protest, and now it has come to a time where we're actually looking towards the next general election. And what are we looking at? We're looking at a point where we are trying to line up behind leaders. Some are saying Maraga should be the favorite candidate. Some are saying Umtata. We don't have a shortage of leaders who can take us in 2027. Now, as ably articulated by Red Hand, if we take a candidate like Maraga and maybe line behind him for 2027, and then we realize that now we have lots of other young people and other progressive Kenyans vying through different parties, even if we like it or not, they're likely to go into parliament voting along party lines. And these parties, as we know, the big parties in this country are owned by the same political class that you're trying to do away with. The big parties that are likely to get someone elected are owned by the parties that have got name recognition. So what's going to happen is that our young people, especially young people who don't have a lot of money, are not going to make it in getting big party tickets. So they're going to go with small parties, and these small parties don't have even name recognition, or maybe go as independents, and that will straight away disadvantage them from the start. So they'll be fighting an uphill task. But alternatively, look at it this way: what if we decide to channel our energies and build a party? Build a party that is backed by Gen Z. When we went out to the streets, people said, "Tulisema tuko wengi." Now we change that to Seme to Wengi. We have a party. It doesn't have to be registering from scratch. We can take an already registered party and rebrand it and make it a Gen Z party, but run it based on the values that we're trying to espouse, that we're trying to infuse into our nation. Accountability, transparency, good governance, meritocracy. That is very key. So that anybody who comes in with good ideas, then the good idea paves way for a better idea. Anybody who comes in and shows through meritocracy that they have got a clean track record, they show that they have done enough for the party, that they are willing, they've got a vision, they articulate their vision clearly, and they know where they want to go with whatever position they are seeking, then that person is given the ticket. And of course, has to go through an electoral process, a party primary process. So if we do that, then straight away we are giving our candidates a leg up, because most of the GenZs are going to postulate towards a candidate from this party who has been vetted, who's got a clean track record. Also, this party is likely to have a big name recognition, and is going to compete with other big parties. And the other big thing is that it will cut out this thing of tribalism in parties. Now, where you find all these other major parties, Waminyoro is saying, Mimi, Nikona 5 million people from Central Kenya. But who says that he has 5 million people? Because he's making an assumption that every person who comes from Central Kenya or is a Kikuyu or one of those tribes from central Kenya is going to vote for Munyoro because they come from that tribe. But if we form a Gen Z party that is tribalized, that cuts across all these tribes, tutakuwa tumekata watu wote miguu. Now they will have to come to the table waseme, what do you guys want to do? Ndefanye kazi na nyinyi. Then you can have discussions thereafter. But for now, I think forming a party is something we should start seriously thinking about. I challenge everybody that let's not be dogmatic. Let's not have things cast in stone. As long as we sit down and discuss it and we agree that it's a good idea, I think it's something that we should seriously consider because it will set us up nicely towards the electoral cycle. And by so doing, we will actually set ourselves to be taken very seriously in the political arena because right now, you see all these politicians, including the president, are infantilizing us. They are saying, our toto. But once we have a party and we are speaking at the same wavelength, then people will sit up and take us seriously. And then we'll actually be positioning ourselves ably to be able to take power. Thank you. I yield for now. Thank you.
Thank you, Bwana Steve, for that submission. Namwona Bwana Paul ameinua mkono juu. I'll hear Paul, then Odugma. But I see we're also running out of time here. Paul.
Yeah, I just had I think 2 points to mention in regards to like I think it's very important we stay focused, and I think because we're still having all the we know we're still having conversation. The fact that we're here and we're speaking, that means we already have a conversation. So this conversation that people are saying that these guys have introduced. So whenever like never go with an enemy your enemy's tactics. Your enemy is there to distract you, to make you lose focus. And we should be taking these things like a big news as much as we understand it, and you obviously know what your enemy is planning and you see what the kind of information is coming out. But we should not get distracted by all that, because this conversation we've been having, they know the conversation which is at hand, they know what needs to be done. So this is a matter of just a strategy to delay and to kind of get guys and for them to legitimize certain things. But if you stay unbothered, it's like your enemy is trying to speak to you, is trying to provoke you, and you just stand there and look at him. So we don't even need to answer back, because they always, like, these guys love you to counter them or everything, because we're already having conversation. So what conversation are we talking about? So that's one thing. Second thing, this whole thing of movement is about a mindset, right? We don't have to start thinking the same way these guys have been thinking. Yeah, this is just my take. We don't need to thinking, oh, these guys have got the parties, I don't know which parties. Kenyans have already changed their mind. They've already moved on from that issue. So we should kind of channel, it's almost like channeling a positive energy. Whenever you channel a positive energy and then you're still going back and second guessing yourself and going back to the negative, you're kind of getting yourself confused. So we have to just believe and have faith that we've already changed the mindset. So we don't need to worry about, like, everything is happening organically, like Maraga going to different places. There's a spirit which is working right now that is beyond, like, like strategy and all those things are important. And I think, to me, I see they're working out, they're working by themselves, and that's the best thing. It's something which is organic. It's not about, like, someone has to be, even Maraga, the way he's going, yes, he's as the face at the moment, and obviously we got, like I would say, we're spoiled for choice. We got also Omtata, but these things are organic. They'll converge in the end, and people will decide, not them. It's the people who will decide, okay, fine, we think this time maybe Maraga, you be the president, Omtata, you be the vice president, or whichever way the people will feel. And I think that comes naturally. You don't have to kind of, like, and that's the best way, because the more you start planning, so much advance, these guys know your moves. They can start, like, let's just think this happening. It's almost like it catches them like a surprise, and that's the best. I think that's the best way. So we need to change. Let's change our mindset from the old things about, oh, these guys have got party, they're just, no one's gonna go there. And it's not about just Gen Z, it's about Kenyans who want to change. Let's just start speaking. Obviously, we know Gen Z started everything, right? But we have to, Kenya involves a lot of people. Yeah, we got our fathers, we got our brothers, we got our uncles. And if you're making a change, and we want to be the change, let's include people. Let's talk about the change the Kenya that we want, the change that Kenya wants right now. So that way no one feels excluded. Obviously, we take heart, and we know, obviously, who started this movement, who said no. So that doesn't need to be spoken. the mindset is already changed and Kenya is moving forward. So let's not let's just keep that mindset and know exactly where we're heading. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Paul. Odugma.
Good evening, guys. Mine will take like a minute or two. I've heard the previous speakers. My point one, there is no conclave that will even deliver anything to Kenya currently. These are just the old tactics, just as been indicated. You know, Raila just changing the same thing, dialogue, left, right, CG, coalition government, broad-based government. Is just the same thing given different names. So there's nothing. Actually, there's nothing these people are ready to offer on the table. My advice going forward is that we need to, in the other discussions, we need to have to strategize, get the ID, those who don't have ID, let people get votes when voters card when the right time comes. That is the power. That is the power to stop the conclave, the dialogue, or whatever names they call it. But looking at things, if we just talk and we don't act, then we are like wasting time. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Odugma. I want to hear final words also from our other speakers, starting with Mr. George here. George.
Thank you, Pipita. I think with all the submissions today, I think I'd want to echo just something that Oluwande said, that I think right now we have to manage. One thing we have to manage a lot, especially we who are privileged to be here on the social media spaces, is misinformation. She was mentioning how most people unapata from especially the Nyanza region, how we over glorified Raila Odinga. And now most of the time inakwanga ni iko based on part of the history we consumed and the things that were told about him, some of which were not even true. The other day when he was taking credit that he was amongst the people who initiated Sabasaba, I'm very happy that Paul Mwite, people who were there at his time, say that he was actually detained during that period before even Sabasaba happened. So so that means that he doesn't have to take credit even for the things that he actually never did, So I think when you debunk some of these things and stop over glorifying some of these leaders like Raila, I think we will be sober enough to maybe see things clearly as they should be. She even mentioned the population issue that Nani Pasari was saying. So, debunking some of those misinformation that we get sometimes, it helps us to also shape the narratives as we move forward. So I think that's one thing I think I'd also encourage people to be doing, even as we are on these social media spaces going forward. I yield that at that, Peter. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Red Hand Republican.
Yes, Pipita. I wish Rwanda was still here. I first want to congratulate her on submitting her party registration, as she told us. That is a step forward, as I see it. I would rather, as much as I am for one party, I would also welcome 30 parties, as long as each party has members who speak for the people, so that we can have a situation where after elections, the way presidents like or the executive likes buying parliament, they don't find a single party that they can buy. Like now it's very easy because just buying ODM and Wiper and Jubilee, you already have 2/3 majority in parliament. But if you had like 30 parties, you have to negotiate with each party, which means that the parliament will be more representative. Secondly, I want to talk about this conclave. Even if, let's assume that we were all for a conclave, even if we were all for a conclave, all 20 million youth cannot speak. If you gave everybody 3 minutes to speak in a conclave and we are 20 million youth, it would take 60 million minutes. I don't even want to calculate how many years that is. This is why people need leaders or delegates. You don't even have to have one. You have to have several, but not too many. Just people representing your position. We also have to ask ourselves a question on this party issue that we've been talking about. Is it the seat that makes the man, or is it a man that makes the seat? By that I mean not the carpenter. I'm not talking about carpenters. I'm talking about positions of power. If I voted for Pipita for president, would Pipita be a good president, be a powerful president because the position of president is powerful? Or would he be a powerful president because he himself is already powerful? So the seat itself, the seat is just an extra limb on his body. This is why I was always against Morara running for president, and people may find this annoying, but it is basically impossible for a Gen Z or a young millennial to be taken seriously as a president all over the world. Because if you ask yourself this, why would the head of the KDF army be afraid of a 25-year-old person, even if that person is president? How many connections does this 25-year-old person have to make the life of this KDF leader scary or messy? Why would the CEO of Safaricom be afraid of a 25-year-old woman as president or 25-year-old man as president, when this Safaricom CEO has more connections, has more politicians that he can buy, has more people that fear him more than they fear this 25-year-old? There is a reason that people vote for people, for example, for positions like president. People like to vote for someone older, somebody who has already had children, somebody who knows what paying fees is like, somebody who has gone through a recession, has gone through a boom, has gone through a period of economic depression, and known how to balance the books. Somebody who understands the economy, someone who understands the GDP. People like William Ruto, as bad as he is, got into that position because, first of all, of his CV. Like when the president of Sudan or a president of the US or Russia or Ukraine wants to speak to this man, they already know that this man has years of experience in government. He has civil servants that are waiting for his call. This is why I'm always for
You
Maraga,
guys can help us with
because a
open
person like
branches.
Maraga,
Now you get people moving.
a
Get
person.
people moving.
I'm sorry, is there someone speaking? You have someone like Maraga who has already been Chief Justice, so he understands how the judiciary works.
Wacheza tu game ya defense.
Steve, I'm
Now we're
sorry,
about to go
I
into a
think
tax season, man. Elections.
All right.
It's George.
Continue, Red.
Yes, someone like Maraga has already been Chief Justice. He understands how the judiciary works. He knows where the holes are. He was also the one who authored the document or chaired the commission that was looking into police reforms. So he already understands how police operate. You know, somebody with experience. And lastly, I want to talk about, as we've been saying, about independent candidates and so forth. I want to put a question to the audience today. Most of us, as I've heard people speak and I've seen, sometimes I click on users on the audience here and I see their positions on their profiles, and I see a lot of people are for Maraga, as I am. So I wonder, what about the other case scenario? Assume that Maraga has run as an independent candidate and he loses. He comes second, but he's independent. Does he become opposition leader? The position of opposition leader is not for the person who comes second in a presidential election. The position of opposition leader comes from the leader of the minority party in parliament. Therefore, we may all want Maraga to run for president as an independent, but we must also assume that he might not win. Maybe he doesn't win. Maybe Raila also throws his hat in the ring and finds followers, and he comes second, or there is a runoff and he joins William Ruto or somebody and they win the runoff. Then Maraga becomes the second after the runoff, but he's independent. We've already written him off. He can't even fight for our positions anymore, even as much as he gets 14 million votes or 7 million votes or whatever. He will not be able to stand as opposition leader. It will have to be given to the person who leads the party that is the second majority in parliament. This is why I'm saying that let us form a party. It doesn't even have to be one party. Let us form many parties. Then and only then can we be able to give the politicians that we love and that we adore a chance that whether they win or lose, they will speak for us with either as part of the executive or part of the opposition. With that, I yield the mic.
Thank you for that submission. Now I see Clinton is here with us. Clinton.
Hey, good evening, Kiki. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening to you.
Thanks, Mande, for your opportunity. I love the conversation. And nimesikiza people have strategies here, which we are going to use to form the next government. And just to add up on something that will also help us to form the next government, which I think maybe you guys will not know. If, for example, right now, Maraga was by, assuming Maraga has no any MP in parliament right now, so which means you guys are going to vote for almost 100 MPs, because once you win a presidential election without a member of parliament, it is going to be so hard for you to govern. Because first, people are going to go left, right, and center trying to impeach you. And you know what the parliament always do. Once they decide on something, they will do it. So somebody has thrown a shade there and said we should form parties as early as possible so that the parties can be popular, which is true. We should form the party. But also the problem with us, and I want to highlight this thing as a serious issue, is that we have not decided yet on who we are going to support. Because a couple of months ago, people were banking on Tata. Then 1 month later, there was a wave on wave. People started supporting Matiani. Even 1 month at the end, people are now supporting Maraga. So if you see this trend and if somebody was learned some bit of politics, you know that this thing is like a graph that slides up and down. Nobody is serious on who he or she is supporting. What we are doing right now, as whoever is it's just to oppose the government or to oppose President Ruto. So any person who will stand in front there and oppose the same government, we are going to jump on the trail and walk with him, which I don't think is a good pace, especially when you're trying to move someone like Ruto. Someone like Ruto needs strategy, and strategy has to start early. So I would suggest, if possible, tuanze kuform hiyo machama sahihi, hata kama ni kurejista hiyo chama, as long as the party is not associated with the previous cocoon of people we know, then me, I'm good to go. I will even be the number one campaigner of the same party. But if this so-called movement is based on lies that were built by other people, I don't think any same person, not just the JVP alone, but any same person will be willing to hop that train and work with it. So yes, the choices you are giving is fine. Maraga, Matiani, etc. But the problem is we have not yet decided who is going to and time is running. And the more time is running out, the more the William Ruto is also strategizing. Because don't think that sasa time inasonga, yeye pia anakaa hapo anangojea tu election. So hii ni challenge tu nawapea, hii ni challenge tu nawapea. If you guys want this thing to happen in real life, ambaye huyo mtu wenye aform chama sahizi, mtu kama Maraga ako na chama kweli? I don't think ako na chama, unless kama atasema kama independent candidate, of which even if he will, it will not be easy for him to govern, especially with no member of parliament or any MP to back him up. Last but not least, with the people, I want also to appreciate the political education we are having in this platform. People are learning. And like I told you the other day, be that person who sits on the fence, because either side of the fence ziko na miba. You don't want to fall in either side of them. Weka kwa fence hapo, ile siku mtu atatengeneza nyumba yake, you can come and enter. But for now, I will advise you as our moderator or as our leader here, ama control huku, to tell us on what way to go. Let people talk, let people say where they want to go, but wewe tu unajua wewe ni moderator and you will not coerce anyone to be or to do something that maybe you will feel is good. Otherwise, nashukuru sana, sina mengi ya leo, nawatakia tu siku mwema. Thank you.
Asante Clinton kwa hayo. Bwana Steve, do you have final words for us?
Not really. I just like to thank everyone for their contribution. I've been a big proponent of us getting organized, and the main reason maybe is because I'm in the diaspora, and sometimes people in the diaspora feel left out. I tell you, there's a lot of people who want to play a big role in the movement. Upper UK, there's a group that has more than 700 people. When you wamekuwa tulipanga tukaenda tuka protest huko at the London embassy, the UK, I mean the Kenyan embassy in London. So any what when you are willing to contribute towards the movement, if they cannot be the boots on the ground, they can actually maybe offer some finances. So that's why I'm seeing we need to start something that can enable everyone to channel their energies, whether you're young, whether you're old, whether you're poor, whether you're middle class, whether you're rich, and everybody can play a role in the movement. And I think for me, that vehicle that can actually harness all this capacity effectively, for me, that is a party. And parties world over have been the custodians of democracy. You look at the world over. So I would still like to see us progress this discussion. I'm also open to other ideas. I'm not someone who's closed-minded. If someone comes in and shows that a movement is still the right way to go, then I'm willing to be convinced. Thank you, everyone, and I yield. Peter, I'll send you my contribution tonight for the tickets. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Malia, tufungie kipindi. Malia. Sijui kama Malia anatusikia. Can you hear us, Malia? Okay.
Is it Malaya or Malia?
Wewe tuongeleshe sasa.
You need to pronounce the words. You need to pronounce properly, or I could get confused.
Talk to us, Paul.
I think the guys. I mean, everyone has said. I think there's a point in each and everyone, and I think we just need to stay. I think focused. Obviously, this is a spiritual, a mindset game, and everything. So it's actually real life. It's not even like it's life, and I think we're living in a time whereby it's a historical moment in Kenya. So we, like, and just not in Kenya. I think the whole world. So it's when, like, the truth is out there. So you decide as an individual. Do you want to be on the on the truthful side. You want to be in the right place, spiritual as well, within your life as well. So this is not something very like, it's not a joke. And as you say, like, Kenya, I believe, plays a very big role, like, globally. So we've been on the news. Obviously, there's something special happening here, and obviously we have to stay woke, be very prayerful at the same time, because obviously, like, as most people know, this is a spiritual battle. We're at the same time in the physical, so we have to stay focused. We need to, like, pray. We need to be very, very, like, intentional and very focused in what we're doing. Obviously, we know the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And he rose like a, like a lion. He's looking for who to devour. The devil, he's just looking for people to devour. So the only way you can stay strong, because we're human beings, we've got weaknesses. So the only way you can stay strong is by, obviously, get in touch with yourself and know your purpose. And then also, obviously, um get close to God. Obviously, we know there's someone superior being. So I think if that is upheld, I think we're on a good path. So that's what I have to say. So everyone stay blessed. Thank you, Peter.
All right. Thank you, Paul. I think you are going to be the final speaker for us tonight. Thank you so much for being here with us, ladies and gentlemen, since we started off at 4 p.m. Right now is about 14 minutes past 9 p.m. East African time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here with us since we started. And I just want to say that we started here in 2023. We are right now 2 years in. And I'd like to say thank you so much for everybody who has been a listener, speaker, and contributor to making sure that the show keeps on running. And I always say that Home Run Pipi is a show that is supported by you, the listener. Thank you so much, Paul, also for tipping the show. Nasemanga kwamba ukiingia pale hivi kwenye tip ja line yetu, wewe ndo the